How's it going, everyone? Glad you are joining us. Hello. How are we doing tonight? I'm going to give everybody a minute or two to get set up. I'm going to plug something in so that my computer here does not die. All right. Excited. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Solid Axle Summit. It's an event I've gone to. We were really excited to be part of last year, kind of as a sponsorship. That was kind of our first event. So we're going to try and see if we can add some directors here who are here to talk with us. So we're going to give us just a sec, get them added in.
Can you hear us, Dave?
I can hear you. How we doing, everybody?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Dave.
I'm good. We got a full crew over there. You guys are ready to party. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
Yeah.
Jimmy
Let me
on.
change glasses.
He's ready. We've been talking to him.
Okay, hold on. There he goes. He got on. So let me see if I can add him here. Okay, invite sent.
Hey, Sid.
Sid. Hey, Sid.
There it is.
There, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
The whole gang is here. All right.
Yeah. My texts were low, but
Mine are very low, and I think my internet connection is pretty slow, so I apologize if it's a little glitchy, guys.
I'm going to see if I can hear you better.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Super excited to be talking with some of the directors from Solid Axle Summit. It's an event that I've very much enjoyed. I think I've gone last 4 years. Ever since seeing the first year on Mud and reading the thread and seeing the photos, it's kind of been something that I've really enjoyed participating in. So I'm really excited to be talking with everybody tonight about the event. So we've got Tim and Casey Archer, who are joining us. And then we also have Jim Johnson, who's here. So I'm going to let you guys kind of introduce yourselves for a second. We got birthday congratulations coming through.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Hey, Tucker. Thank you.
Finally old enough to buy a beer.
Hey, I got a cooler.
All right. For those of you that don't know, I'm Casey. I'm potato launcher on Mud. This is Shanette McKibben. She does all of our registration and all of that stuff for us, which is a very big help. And my brother Tim does all the art and media stuff for us, and as well as a lot of the decision making.
There you go, Dave.
There we go.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Full gamut over here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Dave,
So
just
got a
Jimmy?
little delay there. I apologize, guys.
yeah.
So I'm curious. I know a little bit from tracking, I think, the first thread that I saw on Mud, but how did the whole idea for this kind of grassroots event come about? And can you tell us a little bit about what the event's all about?
You want me to go on that case? Start it out?
Yeah, you started off, Jimmy.
Go, Jimmy.
Okay. Yeah. So, just flash back to 2016, and a good friend of ours down here, Jeff Monroy, and his name alphas and numbers. I'm not sure what it is, and I don't think he knows what it is either. But anyhow, he talked my son and I, McGuire, into going up to a really good event up there. The hell, I'm drawing a blank. What is it, Casey? The FJ Summit that they have every year, and so we went up there. He'd been going for years. Awesome event, really, a lot of sponsors, a lot of excitement, and we were doing the trail runs with everybody. It was for McGuire and I. It was our first experience up there, and one night, I want to say midweek, sitting there days at our campsite, just having some beers, and we just kept talking about there's the Hunter in the Hills, there's all these great events out there, and there's also regional ones everywhere else, but there's not really anything up here in the San Juans that's really fits what we're interested in as far as vehicles in the cruiser world and what we like to work on and like to build and take out. So in short, that's how it came up. We were just kind of brainstorming, and all of a sudden, the word solid, because we were talking about FJ80s and older, and it's all of a sudden it just led to the front solid axle. It's like, and we started talking about that, and then it was like Solid Axle Summit, and at that time, my son he was at Texas Tech in Lubbock, and through Mud, got to know Casey, and I think kind of his internet friends, and then they picked a day, and I want to say y'all met at a Whataburger, Casey, up there in Amarillo.
Yeah, we made it a Whataburger.
Yeah. So take it from there, Casey, because that's where it really started to blossom.
Yeah, so we just kind of both had the ideas, like, we've been doing cruises for a long time, and maybe we should have some kind of a cool gathering in the San Juans with us. And we thought, well, the first year, let's see what we can do and see if it would even, be interesting to people. And so we launched it on Mud, and it took, 4 months before it even gained traction. We had 24 people show up the first year. And it was really kind of okay, we could probably make something kind of neat happen. And from that point on, it just kind of grew to what it is today. It's really turned into a cool family. It's more like a family reunion of cruiser people that we all have met, various ways. Most of us have met on I Hate Mud through the years.
Right.
That was definitely, for me, that was an interesting part, to be able to actually like put somebody's mud handle in person and actually get to know them more than just whatever the keystrokes are, and whatever personality comes through a keystroke. So that was something that was pretty unique for me. That the first year I went Solid Axle 2, and that was pretty awesome. Have you guys read any of those that first thread back to kind of relive any of those experiences, or any memories from that first outing that you guys have?
Yeah, I did, for sure. It's kind of neat to see that the people that we didn't know in the beginning have now become such good friends. I personally have stayed at many of their houses, traveling and stuff.
Yep.
But just looking back and seeing, could we make this work, and how would we put it together enough to where people would want to come back? And then, a lot of guys just came by themselves the first year, and then they started bringing their families with them. And they realized that, hey, this is really kind of a neat deal up here. Not only just, a vacation with your family in the mountains, but knowing that you have a group of like-minded people with you. If you have problems, we're going to get you home.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Dave, I think about that. I don't know if you remember when Roma out of Alabama, he and I were going up to Canada up there to get a 61. Remember, I connected with you. You connected me with Klaus, which we met y'all through. I think it was number 2, and ended up having to go with Plan B on that one. Didn't make it home. It's just connections like Casey's talking about that we're making all over the country through the cruiser community.
Yeah, it's funny to talk to people through Mud. I think Hemi Alex is somebody that I've known and like communicated through different forms of text message or Mud or instant messages or whatnot. I first met him this summer, and it was kind of like meeting a friend you already knew, just kind of like seeing them for the first time. So that was kind of interesting because I've probably been talking with him for, 7 years or 7 years or something like that. And then just to meet him for the first time, it was kind of like, you know, picking up where you left off if you had known somebody you hadn't seen him for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely makes the event special for sure. With how would you describe it in comparison to maybe some of the other Land Cruiser events? I'll be honest, when we were talking about this event, and I was started, trying to get you guys on, we were text messaging back and forth, and it came up that like, oh, there's other Land Cruiser events. It was kind of the joke because, I'd only been to this one, but you guys I know have gone to a few different TLCA events. So how can you how would you compare maybe what's different about Solid Axle Summit compared to some of the other events that you guys have been to?
What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to a ton. Like I said, I went to the FJ Summit. I've been many years to the Lone Star Roundup, and all the great events. What I would say about, Solid Axle Summit, it's in Casey and I use this phrase a lot. It's more of a grassroots event. And we didn't set out to do something different from everybody else. Again, it kind of goes back to that origination. We just had an idea and huddled up with Casey, and we all agreed we wanted to do something that was just simple and fun and really just more low key and laid back. And, it stuck. I think if you talk to a lot of the great vendor sponsors that we have that do participate in a lot of the other events, they'll tell you the same thing. It's kind of creating a little bit of diversity out there in the cruiser world. So as far as events go, and they're all great. But this one, we're just fortunate to be part of this one and be able to go to this one every year.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to, pit too many events against each other, but, the reality is we all have, somewhat limited discretionary time and money to be able to go to as many events as we want. So what would you say are some of maybe the highlights or the classic parts that people look forward to at Solid Axle Summit?
To me, it's the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And knowing people, how do you, hey, every year we all get back together, and Tim can probably give you a better idea on that stuff too. Highlights.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just it's a family event, which makes it a lot different. We don't have a rigid schedule, which people really enjoy. It's a vacation and really a family reunion. I think that's what makes it special because everyone is involved and everyone is welcome, and it's a super family friendly event, and that's what makes it different.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I'll tell you, Dave, one of the things in Casey and I were talking about this the other day that's so neat about it is, and I'm sure this is true with any event, but, everybody migrates, and we actually, we honor, what is it? I can't remember, the Iron Butt Award. Whoever comes part of the, travels the furthest to get there. But, there's a lot of subgroups that all make up that 100 or people that end up at Solid Axle Summit that travel in groups and kind of migrate. And, for folks coming out of the Southeast and the South, Casey and Tim and the team there, they put on a great barbecue, starting kind of kicking it off on the Friday night. And then we always kind of pick a second destination, somewhere for Saturday night, somewhere up into the the southeast corner of Colorado. And then a lot of us burn through the Classic Cruiser event that we do on Sunday, or that Brandon host for us there. And then we get there, and you got folks like yourself coming out of the PNW and out of the West. Maybe they're doing Moab, and people are just kind of building up and joining up on the way. And then even beyond that, I started recognizing there's a lot of trips that happen afterwards. And I think, Dave, you were part of that with James and Nate and those guys, and kind of going up through Wyoming, et cetera. And Casey and I and a handful of guys went and just kind of hung out over by Salida and did some of those over there for a week. And that's the great thing about it. and then talking about it all week and sitting around the campfire, you know, and then doing different trail runs with different folks every day. So.
Yeah, I think for me, when that time of the year comes up, and it's always the event, just to kind of give everybody kind of a little bit of a rundown on the timing of the event. It always happens the first week in August. It's in Ouray, Colorado. They set everybody up at a KOA campground, who's been hosting us the last 5 years.
4 years.
4 years. Okay, 4 years. Great facility. There's it's kind of everything you would want at the end of a long day on the trail, whether you're wrenching or whether you drove over to town and jumped in the hot springs. So you got bathrooms, showers. There's a restaurant there, which is pretty awesome. There's a lot of camaraderie within the campground. When I've done some of the videos, you can see just kind of the eclectic mix of everything from, very early 40 series examples to 55s, some 45s. There's 70 series trucks, 80s. We even had last year, I think it was the first solid axle swapped 100 series, which was kind of exciting to see. Ultimately, yep. I think, the point you hammered on earlier was just that it's very much a family event. I almost would tell people it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, if you will, because every day you can kind of plan to do what you want to do, whether that's, with my young son, it's, it may be hanging out in the campground and going for a trail ride on some horses or riding bikes, or it could be, going out and trail riding with a long group up Black Bear or down Black Bear Pass and whatever else. So, do you guys have any favorite moments that have stood out to you? If you gave me like the best of the best from Solid Axle Summit, what would you guys each say was maybe your favorite moment that you guys have had, whether it be personally or whether it be, kind of as an organizational moment?
Wow. Something really stuck out in my mind on I guess that was year 4. We had gone up on an afternoon run, and it was starting to get dark, and we were like, well, we're fine. We were in cruisers. We're all set. We were going down Mineral Creek from Engineer Pass, and we ran into a family in a bone stock Tahoe that was lost, and they were headed down Mineral Creek. And I don't know how many of you guys watching this have been down Mineral Creek, but it's fairly difficult, and there's some pretty, pretty steep spots that could really tear you up and get you in a bad place. So we spent the next 4 hours getting them down, stacking rocks without any trail damage on their Tahoe. And by the time we got to the bottom, they were just like, wow, we wouldn't have known what to do if you guys hadn't come along. And we thought, well, that's kind of what we do. So it was cool, and they enjoyed it. And the kids were just like, Dad, we need to get a Land Cruiser. Definitely need to get a Land Cruiser.
Yeah. There's that. There's the other extreme too. The other side of that. I just probably one of my most exhilarating moments last year, and a few. I don't know if they're watching or not. Remember this, but Cooper, myself, and Nick and Drennan, we went out on a run last year, and this is crazy, but we're at the trailhead. I think 505 or whatever it is, 550 to get on Corkscrew, and all of a sudden a bunch of side-by-sides pulled up next to us, and they were unloading, and Drennan heard them say, we got to get in front of these slow Land Cruisers, and that was it. Once he told me that, the race was on, and we raced these guys. I wouldn't advise it, but it was a lot of fun, and we all the way up Corkscrew. But yeah, there's more than a handful of fun experiences like that, and I know everybody has them. One of the things, Casey, you and I were talking about this the other week. Just going back to number 1, when it was really, really unorganized, obviously, and it was the first event, and owner showed up, and we did the raffle with owner, and 27 people there or whatever, and it was just tremendous how we just kind of ad-libbed and made it happen. It was extremely entertaining, and everybody just enjoyed it.
I would say that the raffle is something that people have fondly looked forward to in terms of an evening event.
Yeah.
I've been blown away as a participant over the years, just seeing that grow. what can you tell us about the Land Cruiser community and kind of the event growing as a whole, and how you guys have been supported with everything?
I'll let you go with that, Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of what, as I was just talking about, 27 people number in the first year, and we really, if an owner came, technically was our sponsor, came and donated quite a few things to the raffle and got creative with some games, et cetera, to keep us entertained because there wasn't a whole lot to hand out, and it's just evolved over the years. I think number 3 or 4 we've and we've got a great sponsor pool, great supporters, and I think a lot of it is just they're starting to hear about it, and now people are wanting to join, and so I started working with the sponsor group on behalf of Solid Axle Summit, and last year, I mean, it was a lot of great conversations, and we were able to, I think, what'd you say, Casey? We had 20 or 22 sponsors.
Yeah, it was 22.
Yeah. I'm looking at number 3 up there. I don't have number 5 hung up yet, but I think we had 2, 4, 6, 8, about 10 at number 3, and so it just keeps compounding, and because it's a huge. I mean, they love, especially the ones that are able to show up and integrate with us, be part of it, and it's not a working event, like sometimes it can be. Be involved and have fun, meet everybody, and go out on the trails, and then get a little recognition on Wednesday night raffle.
Yeah, I like the point you brought up about it not being a working event, because like a lot of the time you might dedicate as a sponsor might be to go to like a trade show or something like that, where you're hustling and you're constantly talking about your products. It's definitely a much more low key kind of atmosphere. You get to enjoy things a lot more. I would say people are, equally as appreciative of your time, and, a lot of people will talk to you. But ultimately, I think that's probably the reason you guys have some great sponsorship, is just because of, how much fun everybody gets to have.
Well, and something that I've noticed is this group of people is really a nationwide collection of people. It's not just like a general area, local people show up or they come from a couple states over or whatever. I mean, we have guys from Boston, you guys in the Pacific Northwest, California, Florida, and everywhere in between. And so when they show up and they're driving their 40, or they're driving their 60 or their 80 clear across country, that's the group of people that are buying the products and keeping the cruisers going and keeping the culture going.
Are you able to see some of these comments? Steve killed me with that last one.
I'm trying not to.
We had a technical difficulty.
It was either an earthquake or Casey needs to be cut off from any more beers.
No. Yeah, the wind is horrible. We'll use that one.
All right, let's imagine you've got somebody who messages you to find out more about the event. They've never been. They're going to go the first time. Obviously, they're a bit excited, but what do they need to know for whether it be their rig that they're coming in, or what do they need to know to prepare themselves to have a great time at the event?
From what we've usually tried to tell everybody is, make sure where we're going, there's a lot of iconic trails, and they're not necessarily difficult. There's a few that, are difficult, but the majority of which are fairly easy. But if your brakes are not up to par, you're having tire problems, or it doesn't run right or whatever, you would probably not have a good day. And yeah, Dave, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is just knowing that we make sure that they get home. We get them back to camp and figure out what's going on with the truck. I know I had several nights of that here for.
Yeah, I would advise that.
Go ahead, Jim.
Tighten your spacer nuts. That's one I can for.
Yeah.
You don't
make sure your U-bolts are torqued right.
Yeah, and Casey, we've talked about it. We've never really put it into play, but doing a kind of a tech inspection, just for safety reasons, and We talked
I
about
would not be allowed to go. You guys can't instill that.
we would exclude a lot of people. I would say we would encourage people if they're having an issue with a collective pool of cruiser mechanics we have on site. I'd be like, hey man, I'm in trouble with this. Would you mind looking at it for me? And usually that works out pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, it would be simple. Something like make sure your brakes work, you got shocks, right? And, and the steering linkage is all hooked up, et cetera. So,
Yes. Steering linkage is good.
You'd be surprised. I don't know. I think I've changed just myself at Solid Axle Summit. I've changed a fan clutch. That was in the campsite, thankfully. Also changed a starter on the trail with somebody else's starter. So they didn't have one for the rest of the trip down. That's, I think, it for me. But what's some of the other more memorable campsite wrenching experiences or trail wrenching experiences that you guys can remember?
oh, we've got Matt changing out his bell housing at the site. We've got Jake with the diff up at Imogene. Casey, there's been a ton. We've got Coffee Bean, drawing a blank, with the diff in the parking lot.
Jade Bean with the rear diff.
Yeah. We got to coast a manual transmission 40 down from Ophir.
Right.
With no power. We did that, year before last?
Yeah, that was year 4.
Yeah, that was interesting.
McVicker drove all the way from California to Colorado with a freshly built motor that was running great, but he said it felt underpowered. And after about an hour of inspecting the truck, we realized that the accelerator pump wasn't hooked up on his carburetor. So easy fix, and he was like, world of difference. Yeah, but just simple stuff like that you can just overlook.
Yeah, you don't need all the 6 cylinders in these 2Fs.
No.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've been following you, man.
Yeah, they're overrated. They're overrated. They'll get up anything. Klaus pointed out that my transfer case linkage is still not hooked up from 2017, I think. So thanks for sharing that down below in the comments. So that's another thing I could work on. I choose to do most of my wrenching at Solid Axle Summit because that's where I have the most technical advice on how to do these things.
Oh, we can't forget.
Well,
Can't forget Jared Starr. Last year, he went through quite a bit too, and was able to keep that thing rolling. Literally,
yeah, that was.
We don't want to talk about the year before.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need to add just a length of brake line, just hard line with the prefixed ends just into the kit of stuff I carry, just because I think he lost his clutch hose, right?
yes. Yeah, and just so those of you out there in the cruiser world know that electrical tape will not hold a rubber line together.
Yeah.
All right. So we shared a little bit about some of those adventure experiences. Were there any glimmers of wisdom that we can share with people who are watching now from all of these learnings that we've acquired over time?
Oh, man.
You got anything?
That's a good question.
I know that both of you, Casey and Jimmy, have always talked about utilizing a brake pedal modulation in order to prevent wheel slip. I've never been able to test that, but I want to hear the theory and how you guys have maybe been able to test that.
Casey's the master of that.
We actually learned that. Tim and I grew up wheeling Toyotas, from early on age, and the guys that we used to run around with at our local place, Canadian River, we learned that, and this is back before there was over-the-counter ARB lockers and all that stuff. The way an open differential works is it applies the power to the tire with the least amount of traction. So we learned early on that you can pull up on the emergency brake or even ride your brakes just a little bit to get friction on the diff, and it'll act like a locker to get you through the situation. It takes some practice to get it right, but it does work.
Yeah. especially when you're riding in two-wheel drive, Casey, like up the Black Bear. Right?
Yeah, that was an accident. The hubs were locked though.
Yeah, they were.
Did all the Black Bear. That was what year 4 we did all Black Bear, and I did it all in two-wheel drive low. That was fun.
Yeah.
It might actually make those switchbacks a little bit easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I actually didn't notice it until we were trying to get the 40 over the top of Oak Bear Pass, and I realized, I don't have the front axle engaged.
Well, Tegmar ran Imogene almost all the way to the top.
Yeah, that's true. In the rain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the first year he brought 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we want to make sure that anybody who comes to the event, it sounds like cooling system should be kind of checked over. Brakes and steering, those are the mandatories, right? That's rusting apart.
Yeah, please.
You're fine.
Please have a fire extinguisher that works. That's a rough lesson to get over.
Right.
A bunch of us gone out and bought them recently, right, Casey?
Yeah, that's a good plan to have.
Right under my seat now in that truck. So
easy access.
And keep your shop. Funny story. Cooper, I think I saw some comments. He was helping me. We just fired up a 2F that I pulled out of the corner of my barn and threw into the hauler. And it was one of those deals where, I'm turning the key and, you're priming the car. And it's got a little cup of fuel. It backfired. I'm looking through the windshield. All I see is slow motion swinging that cup of fuel over here into the other corner of my barn. And all of a sudden, flames just go firing everywhere. So now I have a fire in my barn as well. So,
yeah.
I try to be more prepared, but I learned from Eric. So.
Let me ask you this, Dave, with you being a dad of a young kid, how do they enjoy going?
Great question.
Yeah, for me, I was probably a little overwhelmed and a little crazy the first year that I came out for Solid Axle Summit 2. He was 3. We were still, I brought like a potty training toilet in the truck with me when we were driving out from Seattle, and that was a lot for me that year. I think we had a really great time though. He looks forward to seeing not only the young kids, but also people. Kansas Cruiser Jake, who's on here, he talks about you quite a bit. And going back to Colorado and having fun. We just Santa brought a RC car this year, the same one that Jake recommended. So there's kind of some of those things that resonate through our whole year, which is kind of something that we talk about, and is a lot of fun for him. He's a lot more independent, so that's great being a parent to be able to kind of socialize with everybody else. And now that he's 6, he'll be 7 this year. It'll be a little bit more hands-off parenting, to be able to have the freedom for him to kind of go around the campground. It's all pretty contained. There's nothing really too crazy within the campsite. And then when we're on the trails, it's, he's not going to wander off too far. So I would say anybody who's thinking about bringing kids to the event, it's awesome. Just make sure that you're tempering expectations. I would say that they're, being a single parent on an event like this with a younger child, that there's a little bit of everybody just getting into the trucks. There's a little bit more stress where it's like, oh, quick, grab all your toys. Come on, we got to get it, because it takes so much longer. So there's a little bit more stress with making sure that we're ready to go when everybody else is. That's tapered down a little bit less as he's gotten older, but he definitely looks forward to, the 10-hour drive we did last year. We did a 10 and a 12-hour drive day, which is a lot for a 6-year-old in a non-air conditioned FJ60 on 5 cylinders maybe. So yeah, it's fun. We do it every year. We really enjoy it. I think I would have a hard time imagining the same kind of pilgrimage that we experience to doing something else. And on the way back, one of the things that I always love to do is kind of do a little bit of a walkabout on the way back, and I always try and pick a little bit different route. So we managed to explore a couple really, really amazing spots and trails on the way back that, I will say between Washington and Colorado, there's Idaho, and there's a lot of cool stuff in Idaho from my experience. And I need to like go down into Utah a little bit more and kind of explore that too. Just the AC thing is it's kind of a little bit of a bummer for me, but he loves it. I think the event as a whole is great. If somebody was trying to imagine what a day would be like at Solid Axle Summit, how would they start their day? How would they kind of finish their day? What would happen in between? Who can lead me through that?
Well, we start off with morning coffee. Officially, it's typically at 8 in the morning, but it's usually ready before then. And my son actually took that duty over. He works for a local coffee company here. He took that duty over last year, so that's kind of an example of this thing growing with the younger generation, and they're super excited about it. And the other thing about the kids, and I'll let Jeanette speak to this, is one of the things we've always done with our raffles. We wanted to do a raffle for kids so they would be involved.
Yeah, we've had some great sponsor items that they have just donated, items specifically for kids, and I think they think it's fun because we make sure every child wins something, and they just have a blast, whether it's a little RC car or games or something like that. They feel included, and they're so excited, and they bond together and build friendships, and they're going to see each other every year, so it makes it a lot of fun.
And that's huge as a parent too. I will say that I was blown away the first year that I came out that, every one of the kids got a raffle ticket. So every one of the kids, won something at the raffle, and it was just really cute and really special to have that experience for them in the event. And that's something that I think, really makes it maybe resonate as a family event, or, the family reunion term you guys used earlier, because it has that focus. Whereas maybe some of the other events, I'm not the expert, unfortunately, because I haven't done a lot of other Land Cruiser events, but it's one of the reasons that I've continued to come back with my family, just because of kind of that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Well, and we have some things going back to how the day runs. When we have our coffee in the mornings, we have our gathering spot, and people can look at trails and see what they want to do. And, we have trail leaders who will get a group together to go out every day. And we're looking at doing one of those specifically to teach to kids so they can learn how to off-road and do those things. So I think that's really exciting. And I love that we're bringing them more into the fold because we want to continue it for them.
Yeah. Dave, one of the things, and we've talked about this in the past, and I know there's even some discussion around doing some driver education, trail education, et cetera, for the younger generation, the CDs, kind of taking the lead on some of that. But it's really around what I term the generational handoff. It's just, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm not going to be 35 forever. So,
Well,
when was that, Jimmy?
that was a while back.
That was a while back.
Yeah. I talk about. Yeah.
I can honestly say that I'm looking forward to the day where I get to sit back in a lawn chair and the kids are running it. Be like, you're doing a good job, but you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Good grumpy old man stuff.
Casey's gonna be out there with his cane, like waving them, like slow down.
Yeah, I'll still have that. We don't want Robert to be out here with a sport coat on.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, one thing.
So oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to add, to a subject, a topic, a couple points back was around what you prepare, because I read comments and a lot of people are adding some stuff, but the thing I didn't mention, especially like I see Matt talking about VA stuff, you kind of got a non-cruise. Even if you have a cruise vehicle, you ought to bring kind of the basic stuff, belts, whatever it is, has a tendency to go out and, you know, like Casey's truck is a little bit different, but he can go down right and get stuff. With a 12 HT, I can't. So I learned to carry a huge coat full of starter, alternate, power steering pump. Got all my spares that I carry with me. So didn't have wheel studs 2 years ago, but O'Reilly's did. Casey. So now I carry wheel studs. Anyhow, just continue. You might need.
So we've talked a little bit about kind of where the start of the event came from, what the event's all about now. Are there things that you guys or direction you would like to see it go, components that you would like to add to it, or where would you like to see it in the future?
Well, I know that we've discussed maybe moving it somewhere else or doing like a traveling kind of deal where we go one region one year and then to another year. Thinking a little bit more about that, I think that the San Juans are really kind of a magical place, and they're really centrally located, so it would give an opportunity for people that's never got to see them or afraid to do those trails by themselves, where we can get them out there. On the other side of that, we've discussed maybe doing a part two in a different region, maybe more towards the central east area, and be like, the guys that can't come all the way from the East Coast would maybe meet us there, and then vice versa, the west side of things. But that's still kind of, we're trying to figure out the logistics of that, how you would do it.
I will say, I think what you guys have kind of unintentionally maybe created with your, just the family focused part of the event, the very grassroots part, I think that appeals to quite a bit of people. And I think you'll see that just from, your registration history has been progressively getting shorter, right? Like when you guys first started in the second year, what did that look like? How long did it take for the event to fill up? How many spaces did you have? And then, what did last year look like? Because it seems like it's getting popular.
Yeah. The second year we decided to do 50, and what was it? How many months, Tim?
Oh God, I think it took like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I think it took like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I'd say year 4 was when.
Yeah, last year was the fastest. Progressively, it's just gotten more and more popular, and we exploring all the red tape and stuff that we have to deal with as far as local municipalities, and then Uray is open country, but us gathering as a group, we kind of have to keep that in check. So we decided that 75 was probably a pretty good number to stop at, because anything over that, it just gets crazy and
yeah, at that point you have to do permits and all of that stuff. So, and we do like to keep it kind of small, just because of it keeps it more of a family environment, more of a reunion type feel. You've been there, Dave. You know what that's like, and I don't know. That's kind of what's special about it.
I would totally agree. I think the fact that you can roll into the event on a Sunday or Monday, and by the end of the week, you can pretty much place a face to a name and remember what they're driving, which trails you guys have been on, or how you interacted with people. With, I think, much larger group, I think that you would lose a certain amount of that. Is that the trajectory that you guys are thinking is possible in terms of making the event bigger, or are you thinking multiple, kind of taking what you guys have right now and maybe trying to do a couple different geolocations? Is that on your radar at all?
Yeah, I think the second choice would probably be what we'd prefer to do, keep it smaller groups of people where it's more enjoyable for everybody, and then just see where it goes. Maybe not next year, or maybe the following year we could do a part two somewhere, and people are welcome to come, and it'll be just like our registration, if you get in, cool, that's, we really just want to keep it more of a balanced kind of deal.
So for this year, you guys are anticipating the same, is it 74 slots or 75 slots, something along those lines? And then with
75.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That it'll be 75 on our general deal, and then like we don't count us as directors, so we're not in that official count. And then the sponsors on top of that, we don't count them in the general public. So your average MUD member who we encourage to sign up and use MUD, because without Woody, we never would have all met each other to begin with.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where we try to focus everything is towards MUD.
Yeah, huge shout out to Woody and MUD.
The longest standing sponsor of the event, whether they wanted to or not.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just put it on there. Thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Okay, so if the event registration drops at some point kind of around January, February, it's a little bit of a Lamaze start, right? You guys like kind of just drop it out of nowhere or say, keep an eye on this date. And then after registration fills up, on average, how often or how many people, have different work-life commitments? They make plans and then they have to change. There's a waiting list, or how many people fall out, and how much of that gets reshuffled around by the time the event actually goes off first week of August?
Once everything goes live and we fill up, it will give you a direction to shoot your information back to us so you are on the waiting list. And we get through quite a bit of the waiting list, so don't freak out if we tell you you're number 20 on the list, because you still really do have a very good chance. Things do come up, family things, COVID things, whatever kind of things are going on. Everybody still has a chance, so don't feel defeated. Put your information in, send it to us. We have so much that we can work with, and if we have spots open up, we will definitely let you know. And that's what makes it so exciting, is that we have new people that come in every year, and we just kind of throw you right into the middle of us, and that makes it a lot of fun. So it's exciting.
We have people dropping out up to the last minute, and
3-4 days before, if you can make it work,
like
we could have a spot for you.
Yeah, like Shanette said, we've had people drop out at the very last minute, a spot open up, and somebody can jump in and go.
And we fill it up.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of fun, and it's exciting that people are so excited about it. That's what I love.
Nice.
Yeah,
so for people to, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, Casey, I don't know if you mentioned, I stepped away, but kind of spreading the word, when we all went down to the Lone Star Roundup, he actually had an entry to this off, right, Casey?
Say again, you're breaking up.
About at the Lone Star Roundup last where you donated and had an entry raffled off with that event for.
Oh, we did that at Maris, actually.
Yeah.
Or Maris. Sorry, Maris. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it at Maris. We have a local place here. Second largest canyon in North America. It's like 30 minutes from my shop, and we kind of did a small Salt Axle Summit year one kind of gathering of people, and there's a possibility we may try to grow something down there in the future. But we actually donated a entry to the raffle on that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. I was awesome. You had talked about donating one, and for any of those that are online, that's an event coming up in March that a lot of us are going to be at here in the Texas market. So looking for.
Yeah.
So when you guys go to the other events, I guess, do you guys get to talk about Solid Axle Summit? Is that a faux pas at other events to be talking about your event? How do you guys work through that?
Dave, let me tell you, anywhere that we go, Casey and Tim, Jimmy, all of these guys, they are sought out. It's like they are the rock stars of the Land Cruiser community. Even when we go to the grocery store here locally, stopping at the gas station, Oh my gosh, it's like they have fans, and it's lovely.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we started this thing off as just kind of a fun, small thing to do with a group of friends with Jimmy and his son, and it's just we're totally humbled by how this thing has taken off.
Yeah, well, you guys have come up with a really good recipe for something people want to enjoy. So I'm all for having a solid axle summit, in various locations, because I love the San Juans. I think that the community that you guys have been able to attract and kind of the setting that you have found is a very special and unique place. I know it's central for kind of a lot of people to be able to get to. I would personally love to see it, kind of explore new places and get that same environment. I understand that that's probably a big ask from an organizer's standpoint. So, are there challenges with trying to host an event like this? Trying to keep everybody happy seems like the biggest hurdle in some regards.
Well, I can definitely step on that one. We try to make everybody happy and accommodate them. Obviously, that's impossible, but the real world reality is we're all different people and we do different things. And when we try to focus on a common goal, and we feel like we achieve that with the majority of the people, it's really rewarding. As far as hosting or finding a new place, the thing that comes to mind is having a place big enough for us all to be able to camp together. A lot of people have noticed or have offered BLM land, let's do something remote. Well, that kind of throws, people that aren't as comfortable off-road and that far deep as we are. So we always try to offer something where there's a bathroom and a shower and and restaurants, and grocery stores and stuff like that. And as a large group, it's kind of hard to accommodate all that. The other thing is having enough trails that are difficult, easy, well-rounded for a group of people where they would want to come and do it. And all be kind of centrally located. So finding a spot like that, that's kind of the challenge. And I know they're out there, and if anybody can think of anything or whatever, feel free to email us, and we'd be happy to look into something.
Yeah,
Research trips are great.
Definitely looking for suggestions.
All right, that's an open invitation. So pick someplace amazing and start bombarding them with locations, and we'll try and figure out how to multiply this event out across everywhere so that ultimately everybody can go to a solid axle summit.
That would be awesome.
Next steps, if people want to get involved, participate, how do they keep tabs on you guys? What should they look for? That type of thing.
Just watch the thread on Mud. Watch the thread on Mud. That's where we that's where the most eyes are. That's where the community is, and that's where we post our news.
And you're not gonna find me. I stay under the radar, Dave.
No, you don't. You don't stay under the radar.
Yeah, from year one, we've always had an official thread page for the event, and all the information is going to be on the first page, and then from there on, people post, I'm going, I'm not going. It's just kind of a good way to communicate with people.
So on Mud, they should go to the forums, and then from there, there's a subsection for events, and then
yes, trails and events.
Trails, events, expeditions, and then that's where they can find more information with registration and details and everything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just that simple. And everything. Once you actually get onto that page, once we launch the registration, once you get on that page, it'll give you a direction to go into a form to fill out, and then you're officially on it. Once we start collecting that data, I'll fill out who's coming, and I'll take we'll have a census of what trucks are coming and how many are coming from each state, and you'll have your Mud name listed, just so people know that you're coming.
Jimmy's got his glasses on. He's checking to see if he needs to register right now.
find it fast. But what I was going to say is, I mean, Casey does an awesome job on the mud thread. Anybody that's been involved with that SAS through mud, I mean, they recognize that. And it's a great portal, obviously, and it's a great, kind of central location to keep up with all that activity. And hell, I still get 2, 3, 5, whatever you call it, where it pops up on your phone. People are just chatting on SAS 5, and here we are in January, and that was 6 months ago, right? 5 months ago. But anyhow, it's it works. So.
Well, I want to thank
All right. Well,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Dave, I want to add one more thing before we close. If you guys go ahead and log into MUD, registration is open now. Get it.
Oh, there were people asking about that.
Surprise everybody. I'm always trying to surprise you. Right now is when it happens.
All right. So you guys heard that. If you're watching now or you're watching this later, you should still log in to MUD. Go to the forums events subsection would be the Trails Events Expeditions. Look for Solid Axle Summit 6. Should be probably the top one because that's probably the one that everybody's looking at. It's got the most interaction going on. There should be directions there where you can actually get on the waiting list if you're catching this later. But super thankful to have you guys on, be able to talk with you about the event. It's been great for me to visit for the last few years. I'm looking forward to going again this season and, doing the sponsorship thing again. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys and share a little bit more of, what makes this special.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for your time, man.
Yep.
We will see you in August for sure, if not before.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. There's people already stressing over this on the comments. I don't know if you guys are catching that yet. They're telling others.
Well,
There's an issue, so give us just a minute.
Yeah, we have it'll be up in the next few minutes, but thanks again, Dave, for the exposure, and we really appreciate your sponsorship and support.
Yeah, we're happy to help you guys out in any way we can. The Land Cruiser community is really what Cruiser Cult's all about, and I can't think of a more cult-like migration to the San Juans that I've participated in for the last few years than Solid Axle Summit. So thank you all very much. Hope that we can get the event full and lots of people super excited about it, and we'll see you guys this summer.
We're taking bets, Dave. We're taking bets. Last year, well, let's see. The first or second year, it took 4 months. Last year, it filled up in 2 hours. So we're taking bets on
What's your bet for how long?
What's your bet on this year?
My bet, I would say 45 minutes.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. 45 minutes, an hour.
All right. Well, I'll post all that stuff on the thread when it happens.
We got 27 people who are frantically trying to log in right now who are watching this.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yes, they are.
Mustard yellow, though. Come on, I've been voting that every year, and it's just made it.
I'm working on the poll, Jimmy. Hold on, man.
One thing at a time, man.
45 yellow.
That's one unique
Thank you,
thing we didn't really get to talk about is how you guys do that with the paint colors. Who can share on
we
that?
can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can speak.
Yeah,
to
Tim
that.
could do that while I'm working on that.
Yeah, so we started out with the shirts thinking, well, everybody's wrenching. We're going to get greasy. Let's keep the shirts black. And then we started hearing a few people say, oh, we got to do some different colors. And then it was Monroy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Jeff Monroy is another one of our directors. And we were sitting around the campfire. It was either Fast 2 or 3. And he said, you know what? We ought to do 40 colors and just do a poll. So that's where that idea came from. And just for the record, I'm pulling for Pollux Orange this year. I've been pulling for that since day one.
Good color.
That's a unique 40 color for sure.
Yeah, it is.
So once
you guys have.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Once you once I get this color thing posted on here, I can only do one thing at a time, obviously.
Like hold the
Once I
phone
get that
up,
posted
right?
up, you guys be sure and vote. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm sitting to the side.
He's on his laptop over here.
Yeah, he's over here working.
No worries, no worries. So you get through the 40 colors, and then you guys are going to go to 60 colors, or are we hitting some
Yeah, I think
two-tone
60s
colors
is
in the
good.
55 category?
Well,
Yeah.
the 55 colors are generally 40 colors, just two-tone.
Yeah.
So probably 60 colors once we get through all the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually never talked about it. That's a great idea. Casey, Tim.
Yeah, that is very good. And that was a great idea that Monroe had, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah.
We were all shocked.
Along those lines, not only are you going to get a T-shirt, but you're going to get a little flag
Yeah,
to
you
put
get
on your
a flag.
rig or antenna for the event that matches the color of the T-shirt.
And we have some great new swag we're working on for this year, so we're really excited. An extra form will go out later in the year, probably in the next couple of months once we figure out exactly what we're going to be selling. But we have some really cool things that are coming, and you guys are going to be stoked about it, and you're going to want it all.
All right, just to appease the crowd here, put a thumbs up if you want Jimmy to chug the rest of his drink.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do it, Jimmy.
Hey,
Go, Jimmy.
I got a question. The hearts that are streaming up the side of the screen, are those for Jimmy?
I'm trying to look up at Xavier at the top of the screen. And
Gonna-
I'm drifting down to these comments. And that's why I keep chuckling.
Oh, we got one. Steve
He
wants
is-
you to
he
drink
is a
that
handsome
drink.
man.
Yeah, Coop. I like.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It ain't gonna
And
happen.
this is how the
See what happens,
Yeah.
Jimmy. See what happens.
I gotta walk
look at all the
the house here in a little bit.
Do it, Jimmy, do it.
It's a virtual campfire with Jimmy.
He will slowly, at the end of the night, leave his shop and somehow make it to his place of residence.
Yeah.
It may be a while
Yeah, he will.
at this rate.
Clear a lot.
And think,
I cleared
But he got a new jacket.
Huh?
Do you have the new jacket on, Jimmy?
the new what?
Looks like you have the new jacket on.
Oh yeah, best Christmas.
Look at that.
My old one.
Oh, yeah. And
yeah, and
looks good.
just to clear it up, and so
Strike a pose and do a slow turn. Give us a look back over the shoulder.
just to be transparent on this, Jimmy doesn't drive home; he walks to his house from the shop. Thank goodness.
look at that model.
Yeah. No,
Beautiful, Jimmy.
they give me shit. My
Looking good, brother.
years old, and I think the term is homeless looking. Jeanette.
Yes, that was
That's it.
Not
That was
anymore.
it.
Not
You
anymore.
look like an upstanding citizen now.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, did you manage to get that all uploaded? Is everybody ready to go? Logging in? Do I need to be frantically logging off and trying to get in there?
You don't worry about it. We've got a separate form for you. For our
Okay. I was
sponsors,
going to
we'll
say,
have a
because I'm
separate
like
form.
42 minutes away from like probably missing this.
No,
No,
we got
No,
you,
you're
man.
good. You're good. You'll get the sponsor.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for joining in. I appreciate all the time getting to talk with you guys and talk about the event. It's definitely, if you haven't gotten the sense, this is a special event for me. It was the first event that we were able to, as Cruiser Cult, kind of sponsor and kind of be able to interact with people. And I can't think of a more cult-like event to try to be a part of. So I want to thank you guys for allowing that and for, kind of fostering a little bit of that community that made, me bring a little bit of that event into the Seattle community and group of guys that I'm working with to kind of make what we've got going, or trying to get going, happen. So thank you guys very much for joining us. And, I'm looking forward to a great event. I've got people who are saying that they're signed up already. So, thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful evening. And
We'll see you.
in another 42 minutes or 41 minutes, we should be, you guys should all be, cheersing.
I agree.
Excellent.
I agree. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you,
very
Dave.
much, guys. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.